There was no frame of reference on which to draw. My first feeling was I was going to build this really sort of very quiet, modern home steeping down the hill, so you almost didn't even see a home. It would sort of set into the hill. But because of the easement on it, which was owned by the Bedford Historical Society, I actually had some parameters that I had to abide with. One of which was that the architectural form had to be in keeping with Bedford. After a lot of research, we came up with a concept of Big House, Little House, which is a classical New England, early 19th century sort of homestead, which is the Georgian farmhouse with covered barns behind them. But because the footprint that I can build on is more of a curve, like a thumbprint, if you will, I did the concept in a curvilinear plane. So everywhere you look, you have a different vista. I think there's a reflection of a type of architecture called minimalism that was very popular in the 90s in the UK, led by an architect called John Pawson. He's very famous for doing the Calvin Klein shop. He was the one that brought sort of, limestone and wangi into the scene in the 90s. And he took his inspiration from a couple sources that I have now adapted my inspiration from. One being the Japanese aesthetic of simplicity and having the nature inside, and by keeping lines really, really simple and unembellished. Also, he was very enamored by the austerity of the Cistercian monasteries, and he drew a lot from that, and that's using lots of stone and wood, but making the space as quiet as possible. And then the third inspiration is Frank Lloyd Wright. Framing views and having very little else other than the sort of the simplicity of the architecture. So that was my inspiration.